Today, we will talk about the annual equivalent rate, AER, which is the actual interest rate for savings accounts or investment products. The annual equivalent rate is the interest rate for a savings account or investment product that has more than one compounding period. AER is calculated under the assumption that any interest paid is included in the principal payments balance and the next interest payment will be based on the slightly higher account balance. The AER method means that interest can be compounded several times in a year, depending on the number of times that interest payments are made. Additionally, AER is also known as the effective annual interest rate or the annual percentage yield, APY. It reveals the actual return of the investment based on compounding, which is more than the stated, or nominal, interest rate. The formula for the annual equivalent rate is given by annual equivalent rate equals (N1), where N is the number of compounding periods and R is the stated interest rate. If interest is calculated more than once a year, the AER will be higher than the stated interest rate. Investors can use this formula to compare AER for different banking products to find the best savings accounts or other investment vehicles. For example, if an investor is deciding between placing proceeds in a savings account at Bank A, Bank B, or Bank C, the AER method can help compare different rates. Even though Bank B has a lower quoted interest rate and compounds quarterly, due to the number of compounding periods, it may have an equal AER to Bank A. On the other hand, Bank C, which pays interest semi-annually, may have an AER that is more attractive than the other two banks are. In the case of a bond, the AER is calculated based on the coupon rate and the frequency of interest payments. For example, a bond with a 4% coupon rate that pays interest semi-annually will have a higher AER than the stated annual rate due to the effects of compounding. The AER accounts for compounding, while the stated interest rate doesn't. Therefore, the AER will generally be higher than the stated rate if there's more than one compounding period. This is important for investors to consider when evaluating different investment options. The primary advantage of AER is that it is the real rate of interest because it accounts for the effects of compounding, helping investors to evaluate the real return on investment. However, the AER is usually not stated for different investment options, and investors must do the work of calculating the figure themselves. It also does not account for any fees associated with the investment. AER is one of the various ways to calculate interest on interest, which is called compounding. Compounding allows investors to boost their returns due to earning interest on previous interest. It's important for consumers to understand AER to determine the interest rate they are really getting and to compare different banking products or investment opportunities. The nominal interest rate is the advertised or stated interest rate on a loan, without taking into account any fees or compounding of interest. Once the compounding adjustment has been made, this is the effective interest rate. A real interest rate is an interest rate that has been adjusted to remove the effects of inflation. Real interest rates reflect the real return on investment by taking inflation into account. The annual equivalent rate, or AER, is the actual interest rate on a loan when you account for how interest is compounded. This rate is higher than the nominal interest rate for a loan if interest is compounded more than once a year. Because this is a more accurate representation of the returns of a loan than the nominal rate, the AER is also known as the effective annual interest rate. Here are 3 key takeaways. 1. The annual equivalent rate, AER, is the actual interest rate an investment, loan, or savings account will yield after accounting for compounding. 2. AER is also known as the effective annual interest rate or the annual percentage yield, APY. 3. The AER will be higher than the stated or nominal rate if there is more than one compounding period a year. Hope this would help. Thanks for watching.